What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Games review, this time for Unicorn Overlord. I'm your host, Tavin here with my good friend and co-host and along for the ride, Connor Elliott.
I'm usually along for the ride.
Just in general?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, usually you're here for more purpose than just kind of being here, but you're here. Welcome.
I am here.
Welcome.
I'm going to say a few things, too.
Will you?
Oh, just wait.
Do I not know? Is there information I'm missing here? Or?
Nope.
Oh, okay, great. And also here, our lead reviewer of the game. Say hello to the people, Phil Shoemaker.
Hi, I'm Phil. I made Tavin let me do a review for this game because I love it so much.
He forced it down my throat. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're waiting on a Dragon's Dogma 2 review, it's because instead Phil wanted to do this, and I wanted to do a spoiler cast for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is live on the channel right now. So this poor sap over here has not had time to play Dragon's Dogma 2.
I mean, I have.
Well, not enough time.
He's chosen not to.
Close to enough time.
Really?
Well, maybe.
You started this week.
I played a lot.
Oh, okay. Good for you. Good for you, buddy. Where's my goddamn review then?
Not yet.
Not yet. Anyways, Phil, you are lead reviewer for Unicorn Overlord. You have not shut up about this fucking game in the 3 weeks that he's been playing it.
Yeah.
2 or 3, something like that.
Tavin, I can't help but notice that you're not playing my B-roll.
I've stopped playing it during reviews. Since we've gotten to this setup, it doesn't make sense. It's extra work, and I mean I could, but I'm lazy. I'm just lazy,
Okay.
Phil. I'm just lazy. But the B-roll is nice for
sad he
TikToks,
looks.
which I guess I'm making one of those this week. So here we go. So Phil, you've been playing Unicorn Overlord. You have, I believe, beaten the game, and maybe even gotten a little extra, huh?
I certainly have. So I have been playing the shit out of Unicorn Overlord. I have gotten the platinum on the game. Took me, I believe, 70 hours, just under. That's at least what my in-game time says. My PlayStation has me higher on that. I think mainly because I was I might have had the game paused or, something like that. But no, it's probably my favorite tactics RPG I've ever played. It's better than Fire Emblem Three Houses, I think so. Definitely better than Fire Emblem. Was that one Engage? That was last year.
Nah, that game sucked.
I don't even think that game sucked. I just think it was missing some of the narrative sauce that Three Houses had. So that's kind of what we were comparing it to. But this game, it's just a masterpiece, man. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but also fortunately, this has taken the #1 spot over Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth for me. Unicorn Overlord is right now my game of the year. And it's just so fun. The story, while, not being the most original thing, it allows its characters to shine, and it gives a really good reason for our heroes to come together, form a rebellion, and come back and overthrow this evil force. It's a really fun game. It's got really great art. It's got great characters. I believe there's a total of 70-ish named characters in this game. 70 of them at least are recruitable if you count your protagonist. And yeah, there's a lot of characters. So it gives you enough to, if you only want to use your favorite characters, you can get away with doing that. If not everybody speaks to you, there's more than enough variety to put together a good squad or multiple different good squads with your favorites. It's got great systems that all work together in tandem to provide this awesome tactics experience with all the different. Excuse me, that was a burp. With all the different currencies and how they kind of overlay onto each other, and it's just every little mechanic that you can experience in this game just adds to it. So I've since started my playthrough for a re-platinum on PlayStation 4 because I'm just that much of a scum of the earth. It's just that much fun. It's just that much fun.
Oh, okay. All right. Talk to me here, my man. What makes this game like exceptionally special tactics wise?
Well, whereas in Fire Emblem Three Houses, you would have typically like one member of a squad with like a bunch of like nameless, I think in Three Houses they were like armies you could assign to each character for like the gambits and stuff. That was like the secret, not secret, but one technique you could do in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Whereas this one, it's like unit based, meaning like you can have up to 5 members in each unit, and it's also an auto battler like Fire Emblem, but you can get more into the minutia of each tactic and what you want, each move you want used in what order. Like if my B-roll was here, I'd be able to show you that there's these little action points and passive points that each character has in their battle. There's little diamonds. There's red diamonds for active, blue for passive, and you can, as you upgrade your units, you can get them items that will either increase certain stats. There's items that increase action and passive points. You can do more moves. There's ones that increase your initiative, so your units are fighting faster. You can get them more health. There's a bunch of different like little upgrades, like I think in Fire Emblem, I don't know what they were called, but there were these individual items you can give to people to increase their stats. There's that for in here too. They're like dues of whatever. There's like a due of attack, a due of willpower, which is like your health and all that. But there are, I can't remember the number for the number of classes, but there's so many different classes. Pretty much each of the units that I talked about earlier, they only have like a minimal number of overlap in terms of what class they are. So you can have a very unique group of people, and a lot of them. So like there's kind of tiers of types of units. There's your regular infantry. You got your spear users, your regular sword and shield user. You got cavalry, people on horses with axes, horses with swords, horses with lances, all that good stuff. And they're all like uniquely suited to fight other types of units. Like a cavalry unit's going to be super effective against an infantry unit. A person with a bow and arrow is going to be super effective on like flying units. Like there's like Griffin Knights. There's they call them feather swords, feather shields, feather bows. Basically like angelic people with swords, bows, stabs, all that good stuff. And just the interactions that some of the characters have with each other. They have like when you there's like these there's an affinity system kind of like in Fire Emblem where you can, the more they're in a unit together, the higher they're going to be like interacting with each other, like they're going to form relationships with each other in their unit.
Gotcha.
And then there's like a meal sharing system which will like provide like a boost to however affinity, and that's kind of how you get to the like the support, like the S rank support system in Fire Emblem, where like that would be the person you married. In this one, they have something similar here where once you marry this certain character or whichever other character you want, you and that other character will get a special item that if you both wear, I don't think you both have to wear them at the same time, but you then become the only 2 units that can wear them. And they give you like special buffs, being like, oh, this one, it could do something in the final battle, which is only usable in the final battle, but they have like other stat boosts, and they have active and passive point boosts as well. And that's really what you're looking for in terms of items, is stuff that just lets you activate more attacks and do more healing or whatever your other points are going towards. The more points of those you have, and that you can kind of work into a cycle of, oh, I can trade out these 2 passive points for an active point. The more you can kind of cause that to recur over and over, the better luck you're going to have in some of these fights, because it's a very big like chess game kind of, and that's kind of what got me so into this tactics RPG rabbit hole, is how good they feel to play and plan around.
Yeah. So yeah, talk to me a little bit about that. You're talking a little bit more in depth than like say a Fire Emblem. I think the reason Fire Emblem Three Houses worked so well is that it was a pretty accessible tactics RPG, not very difficult at all, I would argue, with a couple of moments of like, all right, well now you have to sit there and think, but there were plenty of like ways to like, if you screwed up, you could make up for it through its like rewind mechanic. I'm not expecting a rewind mechanic in this game, but how is it like accessibility wise? Is this something a first time tactics player should pick up? Is it hyper difficult, or does it have moments of difficulty? Talk to me about any of that.
I would say it has moments of difficulty. I played on what is like essentially the normal difficulty for my first playthrough. There, you can also change the difficulty throughout any point in the story. It doesn't punish you for like picking the hardest one and you're stuck on that now. You have to start an entire new game over. You can tune it to like however you want your difficulty experience to be. That being said, like there was times where I might have been a little under leveled or I went to a certain quest too quickly. Like they definitely want you to try to clear out as much side stuff as possible before you move on to the next main thing. So like the levels kind of match up with each other. I'd say the majority of the time when approaching these like main story like jumps, I would be almost over leveled. Just with my main squad being like the one with my protagonist and my favorite characters in it. But you know, not to the point where my other units were just getting hammered and destroyed. Those are just cases of like units I was testing different synergies out with, and they just didn't seem to work out. And I think it's. Did I mention that there's no permadeath in this?
You haven't yet. That was going to be one of my questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is no permadeath. So it's really you can fail, and that'll just send you back to your last save.
Okay.
But if it's not shaken out and you're not really coming out with this win in the ways that you want, you can try different units. There's multiple different ways to get around it. You can try different unit combinations. You can physically move the different characters on their little grid, or like where they start the battle, where they like end up. You can fix that, and sometimes that changes something. Whether it's like, oh, now this enemy unit's going to target this person in the front line, where if you move them into the back, now they're not going to have as easy access to get to them. They're going to have to target somebody else. So maybe it's somebody that was too squishy that was up front that needed to be guarded in front of. And there's even these separate levels that you can kind of grind out repeatedly. They're not limited to the amount of times you can use them. So you can get like free experience, free gold, free like points to just actually level up your army. There's like a renown system where the higher renown you are, the more bonuses you get from completing a level. Like if your renown is the base level, you're only going to get like 10 little medals that you use to like upgrade how many soldiers you can have. You're only going to get about 10 of those. But like later on, when you get to S rank, it like does a multiplier on the bottom. So like I was getting anywhere from like 25 to like almost 40 of those little medals per like game. Okay. And the higher renown you are, the easier it is to even increase your renown even more, which is kind of, it goes with that like them pushing the finish line back in terms of like, oh, I reached this renown level this fast. Now I can get the other one level, the next level maybe a little bit slower, but I'm getting so many more rewards that it doesn't feel that's so much slower. That's nice. That I'm getting to it. So it's got a good like scaling of difficulty in terms of like reaching that goal.
So you've been talking a lot about a lot of like deep and complex systems here. Would you say this is a game that someone who doesn't have a lot of experience in the genre should jump into, or should maybe they reach for a Fire Emblem or some other
Final
game?
Fantasy Tactics?
Maybe not that one.
I think maybe I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if you started with this one. If you are like me and you have only played like one Fire Emblem game, then yeah, you're probably gonna like this one a lot. I do think that Fire Emblem was a little easier to like get into and kind of wrap your head around, because there weren't so many like minute details you had to figure out. Like there are some things in this game where if you tell the computer too many things to do, like if you give it too many like conflicting things, like there are like sub tactics in each of your people's moves that you can, oh, I will only want them to use it in this scenario. So like if the enemy only has it's a 2x3 grid is how each of the characters are placed in their unit. So it's 6 spaces. One of them is empty for a possible like 5 total soldiers in that unit. So like if you had only 2 full columns and 1 person in the back or in the front, there are attacks you can set to they'll attack only if there's a full row, only if there's a full column, and if you set them that way, they just won't activate. So you have to go in and be like, oh, is this going to prevent? Is me putting this sub category on this attack, is that going to stop that attack from happening outright? Is it going to do what I want it to do and only activate in this certain use case? So you kind of have to mix and match in terms of your like party composition and like how you have them all set up. So it might be a little too daunting for a first time tactics RPG player. Whereas I think with Fire Emblem, at least with these like newer games, you're gonna have a tough time sometimes, but those earlier ones are so easy to figure out, and like you can kind of just use your protagonist to bust down any kind of obstacle you're gonna run into up until those like later maps in Fire Emblem, to where you really do have to kind of synergize. With this one, I think that's the case for maybe what I'm calling chapter 1, which is basically like your first big story moment, but that happens before you even reach level 10, and you level up pretty fast in this game.
Yeah.
So it's a relatively like they're not like holding your hand the whole way, but it's a pretty good tutorial.
Okay. Very nice. And then one thing that I think led to what, because Three Houses was a major success. And I think one thing that led to that was, one, its ease of accessibility and understanding of systems, yes, but also its hyper focus on characters. And Three Houses had a lot of dialogue, and a large majority of it was voiced. How is that ratio feeling here in Unicorn Overlord? How much focus are we giving? I know you've said that you love the characters and what they're doing here already, but like how much of that is voiced, and how much of the game is focused on that? Because that is what knocked me out of games like Fire Emblem Engage, and even Triangle Strategy, just because the characters didn't have as much charisma as the ones you see in Three Houses.
Which, to add on to that, talk about the narrative as well. Since a lot of this is about game systems, does it have anything interesting going on there, or what?
Well, as far as the narrative goes, I kind of touched on it's not the most original thing. It's basically like this this evil like general guy. He wants to overthrow your mom, who's the queen, and become the new ruler of this
I want to overthrow your mom too.
Yeah, many people do. They want to kind of take over this country. I think it's the whole place is called Fevrith, and there's 5 different continents that are all inhabited by the different people. Cornea is the big one in the middle. You're the Prince of Cornea. Your mom gets killed by this evil general. You escape with a paladin, Joseph. You were secreted onto an island where you're raised to fight and take back the throne, essentially, by uniting all of these other kingdoms to come together and fight this tyrant. And you meet your friends along the way. You maybe fall in love. You marry whoever you choose, and it's that kind of story. Now, as far as like the number, like I'm gonna say the majority of this game is voiced, and I love that. The only thing that I wish was voiced were the kind of support conversations that you'll run into on the map between some of these characters. All of those are just text bubbles that reach. They're cute, like pixel art. Like we zoom in with the camera, and then they're on the overworld part with pixel art, and they're like, "Oh, I see that you're reading that book," and he's not holding a book. It's just the character standing there. That is pixel art guy. And then one of the characters comes a little too close. It's like, hey, you're standing in my light reading the book. Haha. It's a goofy thing.
Yeah.
But
Connor,
that's not voiced, unfortunately.
yeah. Connor, you'll have to remind me. Three Houses. Anytime character dialogue was happening, it would be voiced, right? Like, or during the like connection conversations.
Yes, they would be
Yeah.
voiced. That was what
I can tell you, yes, they were.
that was what was so impressive about it because Fire Emblem Awakening, I believe. Well, no, maybe it did have. No, yeah, other games wouldn't have. Fuck, shit, I haven't played
That's
those games in a
hard.
while.
Yeah.
No, but Three Houses definitely did. It would constantly.
And so
that's
did
what was so
Engage, for
impressive
that
about it.
matter. Engage also
Yeah.
had all that stuff voiced.
Okay, but
kind
are
of
we
direction
missing
they were
that?
on
Are
there.
we missing that here, or is it just like these random moments on the map, sort of similar to? Oh, did we lose him?
No.
we didn't.
No,
Okay.
I'm still here.
Is it like that, or is it more, sort of like running around Garrick Mach, or like, I guess even like there's a lot of moments in Persona. Oh yeah, social link upgrades aren't usually voiced, are they, in Persona games?
No, I think
They
were.
are?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it just depends on when they happen.
Well, so those like social parts are not voiced.
Okay.
The only ones that are actually voiced are like the like side quest things. Nothing that's like reading off your like list of, oh, who am I close with? None of that stuff is voiced.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
How is the
And
voice
then-
acting?
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Some of the best. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, fantastic. That excites me. Okay. Now Connor, you just kind of being along for the conversation and seeing Phil's reactions and how he's talked about it. I don't. Is Like a Dragon on your like list to play this year, or
No, due to the fact that it's ridiculous, as I've been told many times. Want to play the other Yakuza games?
no? That's ridiculous. That's silly.
I don't care how long it takes. That's what I'm doing.
It'll take you 10 years.
Well, then it'll take 10 years. I've gone most of my life without playing
we'll
Yakuza
check in
games.
next decade.
Yeah, right. But Unicorn Overlord, I do have a lot of interest in playing this.
Yeah.
It's really just timing and other games needing to be played.
Interesting.
Busy year.
It's
Well-
really made me want to play some of Vanillaware's other stuff, like 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim.
I've heard it's amazing.
People like that game.
Yeah,
People
I've
really
heard
like
by
that
many
game.
people say it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
so what's funny is a similar story that with this game as 13 Sentinels, Vanillaware ran out of money making this game. The same way they did 13 Sentinels, which like they got to a point somewhere it's like, oh well, we're out of money now. We have to kind of now walk back a lot of stuff. So they actually had to hold back on some of the stuff they wanted to do, and it's still this good.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's just game development, though.
no,
but
but
I-
I'm like, I want to look up this
I
story.
think you're
so I'm
saying
not
like
butchering it.
compare that to like Spider-Man, Insomniac. They were never hurting for money. They always had a little bit of cash roll at their hands.
I promise you, they maxed out whatever budget they had in that in that game. Like,
They maxed out, but they have like a lot of people behind them to where if they needed more,
they could have asked for
eventually
guns.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Vanillaware as CEO George Kamatani reveals the studio had to dip into its own pocket to finish the tactical RPG's development.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Unicorn Overlord is developer Vanillaware's most ambitious title to date is hardly in doubt. That's just a little phrase from the gamingbolt.com.
Okay. Well, Phil, you've sold me on wanting to play it. I want to play it. Unfortunately, I've got Stellar Blade next week, and then I think my schedule clears up right there. And so I think it's time for me to expand, and I'm playing Balatro this week to kind of like say I'm still playing new games and so forth, and not just be playing Rebirth all the time. But at some point, I'm gonna have to put Final Fantasy VII to the side. You having a fairly good grip on my taste. Should I reach for this or should I reach for Like a Dragon first?
Devin, that's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
And the
Which
more
I know-
selfish part of me,
I know you've said, hey, like, this is your favorite of the year so far. But, you and I differ in a lot of ways. But so
Sure.
I'm curious as to where you would think I would land here.
well, just purely because I feel like you would get more from Like a Dragon if you played more of the previous Like a Dragon, which I think is the case for me too. I think you should just hop into Unicorn Overlord. Also, the fact that that's the more selfish version of me. Like I want to talk about this with somebody else too. So
Okay. It might happen. We'll find out. A lot of crazy things happening this year. You never know.
It's wacky.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for your Unicorn Overlord review. Thank you so much, Phil, for doing that. Hope you got that out of your system, buddy.
Damn masterpiece this game is.
All right, fantastic. Phil just likes to hand out these 10s like they're nothing, man. He just loves a good handing of 10.
But this game
Well,
just gave him a little reach
if you
around.
if you recall, Tavin, the last rating I gave on this was a 5.
Was it? Did you only give a 5 to Princess Peach?
Yeah.
Rise of Ronin, I thought.
That was me.
Ah, okay.
That was me. But Phil agreed with me.
Yeah.
But Phil also handed out I believe Phil's handed out more masterpieces than us.
That's definitive.
Well, me and Connor both agreed on Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. It is what it is.
I don't remember if we had this
You fucking
system.
10 out of 10 slut.
Hang on.
Slut. We've had it since I want to say Scarlet Violet was one of the first ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that before
no,
or
I
after
don't think
Elden
so.
Ring?
I don't think so.
Elden Ring, no.
I figured we didn't.
No, I don't
Maybe
think we
it's-
had it for Scarlet Violet is the thing.
Oh, you know what? It might have been like Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor might have been the first one.
Fairly recent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyways, we're going long for no reason. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and listening. Remember, you can find us on podcast services around the globe. And make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube, youtube.com/@2pennygames. Until next time, have a great time. And gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
I added a lot to this conversation.
Shout out to Titanium, like man.